We're joined by CBS News Radio military analyst Mike Lyons. Mike, good morning.
Morning.
From what we know so far, how effective was this operation?
I'd say so far so good. Not only did we get the chemical facilities, but I think going after some of their air defense capability is going to be the underlying success factor of this. Initially, the previous administration was afraid that any kind of airstrikes would come up against a very robust air defense platform. But last night proved that we kind of got through. Now, the propaganda has already started, the Russians claiming they shot down a lot of missiles.
Right.
But I do think from the military planner's perspective, knowing full well that they got through those air defense systems is going to give them a lot of confidence should they have to do this again.
How can you be certain and ascertain exactly what was taken down on those chemical weapons sites?
You really can't. The information we have comes from the ground, likely from Israeli intelligence forces. We don't have a lot of human assets that are there. But we'll do what we can, satellite imagery as well. There's still other targets there we could go after. Wasn't just a few that are left. He still has some capability that I think we're going to have to be looking over the horizon to make sure we take out next time.
As you mentioned, Mike, I mean, the Russians are saying they intercepted some of these missiles. They're also pushing back hard, as is Iran, saying there will be consequences for this. What should we expect?
Well, we've got to be worried about the 2,000 soldiers we have inside of Syria. We've got to protect them, make sure that they're not going to come under any kind of fire. I think we've got to be a little more creative than just, a standard conventional force, possibly electronic warfare, possibly some kind of cyber operation that the Russians could do. They could become more disruptive to our naval forces into the Mediterranean. There's other things that they can do. But I think deep down, they don't want to get into this confrontation with the United States conventionally. They know that they'll lose, but we'll find out as to whether or not this attack crossed any kind of red line.
Mike, you mentioned those 2,000 U.S. troops there in Syria. The president said that he wants to phase them out, remove them from the area. Where do you see that headed now in light of these strikes?
I thought the president's instinct was correct initially when he said that about taking those troops out. And a lot of people were surprised we had them there. They're there under the same authorization of use of military force that put troops in Afghanistan after 9/11. So I do think Congress has to revisit this. 2,000 troops can't hold the ground that they're on there. They're training Kurd forces. They're nowhere near this fight in Damascus. But I do think that this strike will force this administration and the Congress to rethink our strategy, not only by Syria, but Russia and Iran as well. They're major players in the region, and we've got to be concerned about what we're doing both inside of Syria and then over the horizon.
Mike Lyons, thank you for joining us, Mike.
Thanks for having me.